Okay, well, normally I hear a little beep, but I didn't hear the beep. I'm just going to assume I'm online. Hi there! You're watching the Appreciationist. My name is Peter Hartman,
And I'm Valerie Soule.
and I want to welcome our guest here in the room, Anne. How you doing, Anne?
Not bad at all. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for being here. Really good to see you. On tonight's episode of The Appreciationist, we're going to be tackling the next in line of our 7 Radical Principles series. So today's number 6. It's the laughter principle. The laughter principles. We'll have a fun time chit-chatting about that. Hopefully later on we can talk about what people might. Let me just turn off my phone. I have to make sure that I keep an eye on the comments. But maybe we can mention at the end of the show, just keep in mind what makes you laugh. You know, if there's any TV show, any comedians, anything that you see or hear that makes you laugh, it might be cool to just introduce that to people at the end of the show. But before we get there, our first segment of the show is called What I Learned this week. So I wanted to know what I learned this week. So every week, I learn this or that. I learned something very interesting actually just the other day. Not life-changing, but you shouldn't pour boiling hot water into a porcelain sink because it cracks.
Oh,
So
really?
don't do that. Yeah, I tried to pour it to unclog a drain, and I did more than that.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But it's all good. That's a lesson that you can learn from me. But what I learned this week is that um, if you resist what you know is true, it can lead to the inability to move forward. Okay, so there are some truths, some things that I've realized over the past couple of weeks, and I didn't want them to be true, and I've been trying to sort of like push them out of my mind and sort of do something else. And I'm realizing that it just makes it difficult to move forward. There's some things that I do in the group, things that we do in the meetup that I don't really like, and I felt like I should do them. And even though I know better, I didn't allow myself to stop. And so now I've given myself permission to let it go and to try something new. So I immediately felt better, but it was like holding in a sneeze. It wasn't working for me, and then everything else wasn't working after that. So sometimes we know things that are true, people that we should talk to or not talk to, things that we should do or not do, and the more we resist them, the harder it can be to sort of take a step forward in the direction of where you want to go. So just be willing to change, be willing to let go of something that you've been doing, so that you can free yourself up for more.
But can I ask something?
Please. Oh. Yeah, go ahead, Val.
Okay. No, because you were frozen for a second here.
Okay.
What's the difference? I mean, how do you combine this with getting out of your comfort zone? What part is getting out of your comfort zone? What part is staying in your comfort zone? Or is all of it getting out of your comfort zone?
So absolutely, it's all about getting out of your comfort zone. One aspect of feelings and leaving your comfort zone, things that we don't really address too forcefully, although I do try to mention it, is discernment. Discernment is knowing how much or what will serve you. So if I told you, Val, it's good to leave your comfort zone, and then in the next breath I say you should join the army, you might say, well, yeah, that'll leave my comfort zone, but it's going a little further than I'd like to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes it's only as you experiment that you discern, hey, I thought I was going a little far, but this is too far for me. And that's when you can tone it down. You can bring it back down. It's up to you to decide how far outside of your comfort zone you want to go, and it's up to you to determine whether that's serving you or not. It's not enough to just leave your comfort zone. You have to have this evaluation period where you're asking yourself, is this serving me? And is this helping me, or is this preventing me from doing something else? So some people leave their comfort zone by quitting their job, and they resist the idea of getting a new job. And maybe for them, getting another job would actually be better for them, even though it's not exactly maintaining with their original decision.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about discernment. It's about figuring out what's good for you. You leave your comfort zone, but sometimes you might realize you went too far. I remember when I was a youngster, I used to swim to the deep side of the pool, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I would go to the deep side of the pool and swim, I realized I just didn't have all the energy I needed to like stay afloat. And or in the ocean, I used to swim out far to the ocean. I realized, I'm spending too much energy trying to stay afloat. I should get back closer to the shore. and that's okay. It's up to you to decide, how far you want.
Okay. Yeah. So it's the same concept as in French when I have the workshop on l'effort juste, right?
Exactly right.
Okay. But my question was just in terms of, because when you said when you know something to be true and you resist it, so I was just trying to find out what did you mean by something to be true, like something that rings true to you, but that would get you out of your comfort zone, or some. Yeah, I guess I didn't understand.
So if it was just one thing leaving my comfort zone, that would be fine. But if you do 10 things to get outside of your comfort zone, you might say to yourself, well, maybe I don't have to do 10 things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is leaving your comfort zone, but it's too much, or it's too much of a load for you to carry, too much of a burden to carry. So in my case, what I know to be true is that you can do too much. And what I also know to be true is that the voice in my head, the critic in my head, tells me to do more and more and more.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I can get lost in paying attention to that voice. And sometimes I have to say, you know what, no, I don't want to do that. I don't have to do more. I can just do less and do that better.
It's nice to know you're not perfect.
Hey, you know what? That's every girlfriend has been trying to teach me that lesson, and it's been a long time.
So that's what I learned this week. Peter's not perfect.
You know what? Wouldn't it be crazy? I would never want anybody to think I was perfect. So it's funny. Some people tell me, they say, "Oh, you know what? I didn't know. I didn't think you ever got sad." And I'm like, "What? Everybody gets sad. I mean, everybody's that way." And they go. I don't want to paint this picture where I'm perfect. I am a lot better than I used to be, and I'm really, really glad with the way that I am now. But there's always room for improvement, I'll settle for a 9 out of 10.
I think Anne wants to say something.
Thank you, Val. I had a question, because I remember at one of the meetings, Peter, that you had mentioned about, not to embarrass you at all, or anything, but having anxiety and getting past, like, to be able to be where you're at now and taking those steps, like basically what the discussion is now. Can you just kind of refer back a little bit of your stepping stones that helped you get there?
Absolutely. That's actually a good point, because when it came to my anxiety, that was different than... So when you're doing business or something, you're trying something new, you can leave your comfort zone. But when it came to my issue with social anxiety, it was so overwhelmingly oppressive. It was such a detriment to my life that I couldn't really take small steps. Everything that I did to change that felt like a giant leap forward. Right. So what I did first was that I would take a picture of a crowd, and I'd put it on my computer screen, and then I would look at it and stare at the crowd on my computer screen. Now that used to give me the sweats. I mean, I used to tremble and shake looking at these pictures of. It's a picture that I'm looking at, but it still felt outrageously uncomfortable, and I did that. And then I challenged myself to go out to the park and to sit next to a stranger on the park bench. And I'll tell you, that wasn't me leaving my comfort zone. That was me, like,
jumping off a cliff.
Yeah, jumping off a cliff, exactly right. A complete ego destruction. No part of me wanted that whatsoever. But I did it anyway. And then I asked the stranger for the time, and then I compliment the stranger, and then I kept moving myself up. But every step along the way felt like a giant leap off of a cliff. So that to me wasn't like leaving my comfort zone. To some degree it is, but to me, that was ego destruction. That was the destruction of self. That was what I call being born again. I allowed myself to do things that, like when I think about my future, when I think about the life that I would love to live, it doesn't really involve other people. Like, there's no passion in me, there's no joy in me that says what I want is to be able to talk to a lot of people. Like that's not what I want. I just do that because it's necessary. It's not something that I actually have in my heart. And so sometimes when you pursue something and it's not actually your greatest desire, you probably know this. You ever talk to somebody who they know they have to lose weight for their health, but that's the only reason they're going to try to lose weight? It's not because they want to, it's just because they'll die if they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That was my situation with social anxiety. I didn't have a desire to be social and to be public. I didn't have a desire to do all that. It's just I would not function anymore. I stayed 2 years in my apartment with barely seeing anybody, you know, avoiding cashiers, not looking anybody in the eye, and I realized that was a path to me being crazy, like a hermit stuck in a cave. And so I had to do something extreme, and everything I did felt extreme. So that wasn't the same for me as resisting what I know. Well, I was resisting what I knew. I knew that I had to change that behavior, but I didn't want to, and that was a little different. I like to encourage people to do more based upon their desire, but sometimes we have to do things that we have no desire for, and that's a different beast altogether. Well, thank you for that. I know there's more we can say on that subject. Thank you guys so much gals so much for listening to that. Let's move on to the most important thing we do during the show, which is called a moment of appreciation. And that's where we look back at the past 7 days, well, now it's been 2 weeks now, and we pick out something that we appreciated. It could be something that went well, that's easy to appreciate, or it could be something that wasn't so great, but that you can see the value in today. Who would like to go first? Or would you like me to go first?
You go first.
Well, mine's simple. I had an event recently. It was called Hartmania. My brother and I, we put on our first comedy show. It was amazing. I mean, it was a comedy show where we both performed 10 to 15 minutes of comedy. And then we also had four or five other comedians. And we had a packed house. It was phenomenal. I can't even tell you how proud I was that we were able to do this, and I can't imagine I would have ever been able to do it if it wasn't for all the events that we've thrown for the Law of Attraction. I wasn't nervous in the slightest. The crowd was excellent. I got to say my jokes, which I was a little nervous about, but everybody took well. The comedians that came on were great. It was a great night, Hartmania. I mean, you can go and check out, we're going to be doing it more and more, but it was so satisfying to do a full-on comedy show. These are the things that you do after you've been doing comedy for a while, and we've only been doing it for a year. And when I say a year, I mean I haven't really been doing it that much, and it felt really awesome to do it. It actually gave me a lot of ideas. It actually helped me to come up with an idea for our next workshop, which is going to be a nice surprise for people. It's going to be a completely different change. It's called Praiseworthy, and we're going to get together and we're going to praise. We're going to praise the world around us, and we're also going to praise ourselves, and we're going to have people praise us. And so it's going to be an excellent time where we're getting to love ourselves, and it's going to be sort of a mini recreation of the feeling that I had when I did Hartmania. I'm talking about it a lot because it was just overjoyed, and I slept like a baby that night.
Well, congratulations. I'm sorry I wasn't there. Next time, if ever you guys can have those events, not on a Monday and not on a Wednesday, then I'm there.
Okay.
No. Look, you can't look at that. But yeah, so I'm really sorry I wasn't there. But I didn't say I was coming until the last minute because I was hoping my dance class would be canceled or something. And but yeah, I thought of you guys, and I'm sure it must have been really, really awesome.
Oh yeah, don't sweat it. I mean, every day that goes by, we just get better and better. So it's like you never have to worry.
Yeah, that's it.
You'll get the benefit of all. It was really, really a blast. So that's what happened for me. That was just the other day. We did it for our 32nd birthday. So I just turned 32. I guess I should say a moment of appreciation is that my birthday, but I cared more about Hartmania than I did about my birthday. What about you gals? Anything to appreciate?
Val?
No, you go ahead.
What to appreciate? The past for this past winter, because I don't like when it rains in the winter. It affects health conditions for myself, mild, mind you. But it's just, instead of complaining and just keep going on like that, just keep going forward and doing what I can health-wise in simple terms of like having a nice hot bath and Epsom salt, just appreciating the value of not liking the weather and how it affects me, but how I do have the patience to cope with getting through it in things like that one example. And as childish as it may seem, my little plush toy. I make up little scenarios with plush toys. We're never too old for plush toys.
There you go.
Oh, that's great. I really love that. You mentioned a bath with Epsom salt, and I've only recently learned how good this is.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell people about this Epsom salt bath thing?
I do, because from a massage therapist point of view, is there's magnesium sulfite in Epsom salt, as we all know, that's really essential for bringing back a mineral into the body that the cells need, especially muscle cells.
Excellent.
So, and it really helps de-stress, but not everybody is informed about that essential bit of information, almost like an essential ingredient in a baked good, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I agree with sharing that, or just anybody who will share it with me that they appreciate that value, because I also learn from them as well.
Good. I love that. I had a sore feet, and I soaked it in Epsom salts and warm water, and oh man, isn't it soothing, and it feels so good, and it's good for you. So anybody out there who's trying to deal with anything, take an Epsom salts bath. You can buy a big jug for like nothing. It's like not even that expensive. It's not. It's really, really cool. Well, thank you for sharing that moment of appreciation. Your plush toy is really nice. We should all get one, huh? Shouldn't we? I gotta get myself a plush toy. Excellent. What about you, Val? What do you have?
I have two. I spent some time with my godson on Saturday, I believe, and he's like 9 months old, and he's the cutest thing, and he's trying to crawl, and at some point he was on the table after we were finished eating and everything, and he was kind of like in front of me, and I just put my face right in front of his face, and he didn't see me at first, and then when he lifted his head, he saw me, and he just smiled at me like with a mischievous smile, and that was it was a precious moment. It was like a few seconds, but it was a lot of fun. So that's one. And then on Sunday I had a session, and because it was such a beautiful day, we decided to take it outside, and it's too bad that Sam's not here, because she would be really proud of me. I never think of having sessions outside. That's not me. I'm not like Sam. But it was so nice that we said, okay, let's do it outside, and just go for a walk in the park. And what I really enjoyed about it, my favorite moment was when you know how your mind goes and goes and goes, and of course when it's in a session, that's what happens. There's a lot of talking going on, and the mind is very busy. And so at some point what we did is we used silence, conscious breathing, and connecting to nature and the beauty of nature, just to still the mind and to come back to a center, or to a perspective that just made sense, instead of just crazy noises and crazy critical self-talk,
Yeah.
So that was very powerful. It was only a few seconds, but it changed everything. And it was, very, very powerful. So I'm really grateful for that moment.
Oh, that's excellent. Oh, that sounds wonderful. I'm proud of you, too. Sam doesn't have to be here. I'm proud of you. That's very, very cool. I love that. I can just imagine the impact it has. I know you say a few seconds, but those moments are so poignant, so powerful. They really like cut through the tension of your life experience. Being able to sit, just to have a few moments. I remember I was told if you're meditating, sometimes people feel like, oh, I'm not meditating right. But I was told one day, if you just get into that zone for a few seconds, you try to meditate for 20 minutes, and you only get into that zone for a few seconds, you've done it.
Yeah,
like
that's it.
matters.
Yeah, and it was really like, it was like I could tell it was, oh yeah, okay, too much noise. It's okay, stop, just stop, silence, and just concentrate on your breathing, and then when this is done, then connect to nature or what you see that is beautiful, and that was it. So that was good.
Good. And?
Well, I just want to agree with Val and yourself, of course, but she said it very well. And the importance of this deep breathing for just every person, every average person, every single human being on the planet to be able to learn this, just and within allowing themselves to experience it, like Val was expressing, just yes, it's that powerful. It really, the proof is in the experience, right?
Right.
Absolutely. You're both tapping on something that I've been thinking about for a little while, and I only feel sad because it's not really within my wheelhouse. It's not something that I'm able to do with other people, but I wanted to do a session where we just come together and we sit down and we just sort of be in the present moment without much to say, where we're just sort of experiencing each other, eye contact and things like that. But I was like, a whole meetup where I don't say anything, I don't know how that's
Yeah.
But I thought, I'm sure there's somebody, I thought about Val, who, it might be something cool to just give someone an excuse to sit down, maybe not for a whole session, but for 10, 15 minutes with nothing to say, where you're just sort of enjoying the company of people around you. And even when I imagine it, I'm like, oh my God, that is so weird. How are you going to do that? But it sounds like it might be kind of cool. And
were you thinking of doing this actually in person, which would be more effective, or online? Because
no, in person.
Oh, okay, of course.
Yeah, in person, for us to sit down, I don't know how long. It could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, where you're not saying anything. You're just sort of breathing. You're looking at the people around you. But the fun part of this, or the strange part of this, is that you would do it with other people, just sitting there. Like you can go to the park, you can be at home and just sit down in a moment of silence. But I was like, what would that feel like if you were just in a group of people and there was nothing to say? Nobody was jostling to speak next. There was no topic of conversation. You were just sitting there and enjoying. You smile if you wanted to. Something popped into your head, you can say it. You can hum if you want to, sing a little tune. I don't know anything. One, get up, stretch, but just have nothing to do. Just like be present. And the more I thought of that, that was actually a little anxiety provoking. I was like, did I do that? But I thought I would talk to Val and Sam and Elvira about that. I was like, they're probably more suited for this, but I would love to be a part of that.
That's a good idea. It would definitely be very interesting, I think.
I think it'd be a cool experiment. It'd be like a workshop, and just everybody needs an excuse to just sit and just be, and to be with other people. And people like me, who in social situations is a little uncomfortable, it would feel like a luxury to like have permission to just be with people. I also had another idea which can't work, but whatever. Val, it goes along with what you're saying. I know we're getting stuck in the moment of appreciation here, but that's the most.
Yeah, because I just know at 7:30 I really have to go.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. But so I'm holding my brother's baby, right? And he's 1 year old, and I'm just holding him. And whether he's a terror or whether he's nice, just the physical contact with him, just looking at him, it's like so beautiful. I was like, could we find people with kids to come and other people can like just hold the baby in their arms? And I was like, the logistics of that are so crazy. Maybe I'll just encourage people to find members of their family.
Bring your own baby.
Bring your own baby. You get in for free if you bring a baby.
Could it include plush toys if you don't have the real thing?
Look, I know today we're talking about the laughter principle. I'm happy that we're laughing already, so we're kind of demonstrating the principle. We only have a few minutes before Val has to leave, so let me just say this. So for our segment, What a Great Idea, that's where I point you towards an idea, product, or service, a person who deserves your attention, because whatever we give our attention to becomes a greater part of our experience. So why not give our attention to great ideas? This week's great idea is a meetup group created by Ms. Wendy Singer. She's a laughter yoga specialist. She has a meetup group called Laughter Fit Meetup. Excellent. Sam sings her praises. You just get together and laugh. And the reason I thought about this is because Sam put me on to, I was at her house and she received a Skype call. She received a Skype call from a group that just get together for 10 to 15 minutes and they just laugh on Skype. Okay? You're not on camera, it's just the audio, and you're laughing. So at first you force the laughter, but then you're hearing other people laugh and you just laugh at it, and I thought it was just fantastic. The meetup group I've told you is Laughter Fit Meetup. We'll be posting that online, but there's also skype.laughteryoga.org, and you can join this club. I think it's every day for 10 to 15, 20 minutes where they get together and laugh. It's a really unique experience. It's really fun.
Nice.
A
Yeah.
wonderful use of technology. So before I let you go, just want to mention that this week's winner for a free ticket to Beloved is Diane. Diane, if you're watching, you can contact us, and you will be able to attend April 30th event Beloved as our guest on the house. So Diane, there's only one Diane in our group, so you can contact us for that. The laughter principle. I just want to explain this real quick before Val has to go. Let's see here. I have it open. So the laughter principle. So to laugh daily. Okay, that's the one aspect of the principle. Find a reason to laugh every day. I mean, I don't force the laughter if you want to. Find something silly on YouTube. I don't care what it is, but find some reason to laugh. Laughter is really incredible medicine. But the other part of this laughter principle is that you can actually use laughter, you can use humor to transform trauma. Now, one aspect that I do this is that I love listening to comedians who talk about terrible things that happened in their life with the purpose of making you laugh. Okay, Louis C.K. Louis C.K. is this big comedian. He talks about divorce, and he says, I got divorced this year, and everybody goes, oh, and he says, don't say, oh, you're getting divorced because you're leaving something that was horrible. It's like holding in a bowel movement for years and finally being able to let it go. Everyone's like, oh, you're like, no, it feels better that I'm able to do this. So when I heard his take on divorce, it was really something very funny to me, and I thought it was beautiful that he was able to transform the situation to something humorous. And there's a special from another comedian called Tig Notaro, and she was talking about having breast cancer, and she did a whole set of jokes about it. It was not only breast cancer, a lot of things happened in her life, and she calls it Tig Notaro Live. And it's available for $5 on iTunes. You should definitely check that out. So my question to you is, what makes you laugh?
Silly moments. Actually, I had one yesterday. I was with a friend at the hospital because she needed a scan, and we had been at the hospital the day before. And you guys know how long it takes here, so and we just waited and waited and waited, but she had a great, she always has a great sense of humor, but yesterday I could tell she was feeling a whole lot better because she made fun of things, and so we had a good laugh about walking the length of the corridor from the clinic to the hospital, and like taking a walk. Like she says, oh well, yeah, we're doing fine, because I was trying to give news to somebody, and she said, we're doing fine, we're actually thinking of taking a walk. Well, it was kind of a forced walk, but we did that, and when I took her back home, what was really funny is that she hit her head on my car as she was getting out, and we were just coming back from the hospital to have her head checked and I'm like, are you okay? And she's laughing. She can't even answer me. She's laughing so hard. She said, yeah, I'm fine, but really, to end the day like that is kind of nuts. So, and that was one of my moments of appreciation for yesterday, because I just enjoyed those moments with her.
I love that. Yeah, a little bit of silliness. Very, very cool. I like that. It's funny. I can almost hear the slapstick happening there at the same time. What about you, Anne? What makes you laugh?
Well, so many things, but let's just say that I set up scenes with my plush toy, so when my husband comes home, he has a laugh.
This is good.
I do that. It's just so childlike, but truly I do. I put them in his slippers, for example, like as if they're driving a car, okay? And I just make up a story on the whim. And the whole point is to get a smile. And it works every time, no matter who I'm with. So.
Wow, this is wonderful.
Look, I'm going to stay on for a few minutes to end the show, and Anne and I will talk about it. I want to let I promised to let Val go. Val, do you want to let people know what your next meetup is?
It's on the 14th of April. It's in French. It's actually the meetup I was supposed to have last week, but the weather was so bad I canceled it. And it's a group discussion on rhythm. It's finding your rhythm, but it's in French. Trouvez votre rythme.
Perfect. So if you're in Montreal and you would like to check that out, it's April 14. You can go to meetup.com/TLOAMTL. That's TLOA as in the law of attraction. MTL is in Montreal, and you can find her meetup group there. Val, thank you so much for taking the time to come out here.
Thank you, guys.
You're on location. Take care. Have fun.
Bye.
Bye.
And I had to let Val go because I didn't want to keep her, when people make an effort to come out and they say they have to leave, you got to let them go or else they'll never come back again. No, Val would, but it's really cool. I love your stuffed toy idea. I think it's hilarious. Honestly, part of me feels like like everybody should have a giant big plush toy. I remember going to La Ronde or to amusement park and like wanting to win these giant things and even winning them and bringing them home. And as an adult, it's silly, but it's fun, right?
It is fun. It is fun. Who says that? Where do we stop being a child? Who has the right as an adult, as a human being, to say this is the cutoff age for various things? Because I'd say, well, look at them and poo-poo to them because they're too serious. So
I think a little more childlike behavior, a little more youthful behavior, being the child within, and that being exemplified in, look, when I drink water, for example, when I'm at home and I drink water, I make a mess on my face. And then I wipe it like that because I'm not gonna just drink water. I'm gonna use water to remind myself to be a little playful, to be a childlike. You can make a mess. You can jump in puddles. You can play with the dirt. You can be a child out there. And honestly, what you just said made me want to go out and find a big plush toy. Just to as a big fat reminder in my room all the time that you get to be playful. You get to be a child.
Mm-hmm. Well, the whole point is that it gives laughter. It may seem childish to some people, but they have to understand to let down their guard and conditioning and stuff, right? That laughter is peaceful and it's not harming anybody. That's the whole point. And
I love that. You know what I think I'm gonna do? I think at our beloved event, we're gonna give away a big plush toy or teddy, I think that might be fun. You know what? You have such great Epsom salts and big plush toys and such great ideas here today. I want to thank you so much for coming out to the show. You really added a lovely energy to it. I really appreciate it. I just want to let folks know that tomorrow we have a community discussion. It's a fantasy meditation discussion. So come prepared to discuss your fantasies. Let's keep it PG-13 there, but oh no, we can go wild if you want to.
Where will it be hosted?
It will be at Burritoville, so that's downtown Bishop and Maisonneuve. It's on the 3rd floor. It's a family meditation. It's $5 for non-members. That really goes to help us pay for the room and things like that. And we already have, I think, 15 people RSVP, so we might be a good group. And we're just going to get together. We're going to talk about the value of fantasy. So that's where I talk about, why fantasy is important. Because we often visualize, right? You've heard of visualization in terms of the law of attraction and self-help. And visualization to me has such the sign like I'm working. I'm like trying to figure things out. And what I want is I want people to just be like a child, to just imagine things for the fun of it, just to be like frivolous, to have a fantasy meditation. So fantasy meditation is not a visualization to make something happen. It's just an excuse to create a zone in your mind that you can be playful in, that you can be free, and that you can just do whatever you want. So we come together. Everybody really loves it. We half the session is us just talking about our fantasies and feeding off of it. I ask you questions like, what would you do with $100? What would you do with $1,000? What would you do with $1 million? What would you do with $1 billion? And we just see how we can go. And you can't pay your bills, okay? In this fantasy, your bills are paid. So you got to move on, okay? You can buy your mom a house and then move on to something else. And so it's a very well, because everybody always says the same thing at first. They go, I'm going to pay all my bills and I'm going to invest it in the bank and then that's it. I go, no, I'm not. Fantasy is not living off interest, okay? Fantasy is what would you do if you could do anything. So it's a fun conversation to have, and we're going to be having that tomorrow.
I'd give it as cute money to my plush toys.
Wouldn't that be great?
Thanks.
We have to end the show right now, but thank you again to Val. Thank you for Sam for all the work she did behind the scenes. Thank you to Anne for participating with the show. This was really a lot of fun. It's one of the shows that I'm going to be happy to rewatch. Take care, everyone. So that's it for The Appreciationist. Tune in next Wednesday for another exciting episode of the Appreciationist. We'll be talking about the last radical principle, and that is, if I'm not mistaken, I've got it here somewhere, tabula rasa. Tabula rasa. If you don't know what that is, Google it, or tune in next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Take care.